Good afternoon, everyone. Today I am going to be talking to you about client agreements, business terms and conditions. When do they need to be signed? Where do they need to be placed? And what do you do if a client doesn't sign them? So these are three issues that clients do raise with me and require support around, so I thought I would talk to you about them today. The first thing I want to bring, I guess, to light is the process of what a contract is. So when someone approaches you to work with them, they will say, I would like to get this done. And so essentially what you do is that you say, well, yes, I can help you, and this is what I can do for you, and this is how much it will cost. So that's your offer. You're offering to do a certain task for them. The next important element of the contract is whether they accept it or not. And so they may come back to you and say, yes, I would like to go ahead with this work. So what are the next steps? So essentially at that stage of the contractual process, you have an agreement. So there's an agreement where you've offered to do something for someone and they have agreed that they would like you to do that particular task or provide that particular service. So the next step that occurs then is, or the next part of the contract process or the elements of the contract is the consideration, you know, the quote that you send them, the negotiation that happens about price, and finally you decide on a price. So you've cleared the second element of a contract, which is consideration. Consideration is another word for price, the price you pay to get something done or the price you offer to do something. So it's like that. It's the same in all contracts. So when you buy a house or a property, the price you pay for the property is considered to be the consideration in a nutshell. So you've got your offer and acceptance, and you've got the consideration. The third part is, which is probably the thing that's really has the most bearing on coaches and consultants and people online doing businesses, offering services and requiring client agreements and business terms and conditions, is the element that is around the intention of the parties to actually create a legal relationship. So we talk about this because sometimes contracts are not signed or terms and conditions are not signed, or you send a link to a client with a document that needs to be signed, and yet they go ahead and all the emails show that they have every intention of working with you, they pay you, and they give you the work or the information that you need to start, they attend meetings. So it's the intention of the parties, that's of you and your client, that shows that you intended to have a contractual relationship, that you even in the absence of either party signing, that you actually acted according to the agreement that was kind of encapsulated in the offer and acceptance part of the contract process. So the question that comes up to me quite often is, when do you send terms and conditions to your client? Look, in my experience, the best thing to do is to make it as available as possible. So there's a number of options that you have. Firstly, you know, you can have your document sent within the proposal, so you attach it as part of your proposal as a PDF. You can have actually your terms and conditions placed on a hidden page on your website, and the link will lead your clients to that important page. If you have a calendar and people are booking in sessions with you or buying a package of sessions, your terms and conditions can be placed at the Pay Now button or the Book Now button. So what that is the tick box that does not allow them to progress to booking or paying until they have clicked the button, gone into the document, read it, and ticked that they have in fact gone through that process. So you know, there are a number of places where these documents or these terms and conditions and client agreements can be placed. Do they need to be signed? No, they don't need to be signed. It's preferable if it's preferable if something is signed. However, this is the digital age, and we are doing a lot of work online, and there are multiple ways of bringing of showing that you have made your terms and conditions available to your clients that before they actually engage with you or pay you any money or sign up with you. So I guess it's a case of leading a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So it's really up to people for them to know and to have these documents available to them easily, not in small writing somewhere in the signature of your email, but in fact a clear direction. Please visit this link. It contains my terms and conditions of working with me and important information about my service. So they're under no, there's no hiding it. There's no beating around the bush. You are clearly directing them to that document. So once you've made that available and you have, you know, if it is in a tick box on your terms of sale in your online shop or on your booking calendar, then they go ahead and they brief you and they can give you instructions and you commence work and they pay you and they make a couple of things. All these things go to show that both parties had an intention to create legal relations. And you have every right to fall back on the business terms and conditions and agreements if something in fact goes wrong and you need a platform to negotiate from to resolve a dispute or to progress a matter or any of those things. So a very important thing to remember is make your client agreement or terms and conditions easily available to the client without them having to pay first, okay? They need to be able to access it anywhere. So whether if you're sending an email, attach it as a link with a clear direction. If you have an invoice, upload it with a clear direction. If you have if you have a shop online, have it at the Pay Now button with clear direction. If you have a membership site, when they enroll now or sign up now, have it as a tick box option at the point of sale. The second question that comes up is, and I guess to some extent I have addressed this, but I'll address it again, is do they need to actually sign? So that you need to remember that no, it's really a matter of you making it available to them. If you have a process which allows you to, it depends on your business. If it's a very formal contract and the type of business requires you to be that way, then there are multiple online signing options that you can use. DocuSign is one, Concord is another, where you share the document with the client and they're able to provide their signature online. So it's up to you to pursue that if they in fact do that, and I would recommend this process if in fact you are running a service that does require, that has, you know, high accountability. So for example, if you are a web designer, an architect, a videographer or a graphic artist, and you've got timelines and deliveries and all of this these components to your service, and there is a high rate of involvement from the client in getting the outcome, then you probably need to get them to sign a document that that covers these things and that will enable you to conduct your business if the client does not actually come to the party and meet their end of the bargain in terms of providing you with material on time, of being accessible, of reviewing things on time, etc., etc. So I hope this has helped. The one other thing I'd like to address is, do you need to send a client agreement or business terms and conditions to people every time they work with you? If you have an ongoing client and you are continuously, well, firstly, if it's a one-off, that's okay. You send your client agreement, it covers that particular task or that particular coaching package or that particular consulting period, and that's done. If you then engaged again to provide a different range of services, then yes, you do need another agreement, because prices change, your delivery times change, your the way you do business change. So it's always good to revisit these things every time you enter into a new work relationship or scope of work with the same client. Having said that, though, a lot of people have retainers. So if you have a retainer and it's for 6 months for someone to provide a service to you, then yes, you do need to have the agreement reviewed at 6 months. It may not need a vast number of changes. It may not need, there may be no changes at all. It could merely be that they agree to engage your services for another 6 months. It's very healthy to have that in place because it reminds everyone in the relationship of what work is to be done, how much is being paid. It's also a perfect opportunity to address price increases, changes in delivery times, and also if you are offering new services and you would like, you think your client may like to consider adding some of those services to the suite of services they've engaged you for. So this Facebook Live is really just about getting you comfortable with how it is that client agreements and business terms and conditions in terms of sale fit into your business process. I hope it has enlightened some of you about what you can do. If you would like some advice or direction on how to present your business terms and conditions and your client agreement in your businesses seamlessly and in line with how you communicate as a person and in your business personality, I invite you to contact me. My booking calendar is in the comments below. And if you require some assistance with business terms and conditions, or you've had some resistance to having them put in place, or your client agreements or any other contract, and you would like to discuss them and get some, I guess, information or support around it, I also invite you to contact me and via that link and have a chat, and we can see how we can progress some of these issues for you in your business. Have a lovely week, and I will talk to you again next week about some other aspect of foundations and legal foundations in your business at startups. See ya.